One more time. This part is not hard, but man, do I see this messed up. Holy moly. Because I'm going to make one change from the problem we just did. Okay, got a fraction. I'm going to put a +1 in it. And then I'm going to throw in a greater than 2. Why is this problem different than the last one? It's got that inequality in it. And once you have the inequality in it, it changes how you can solve the problem.
So you want y by itself, and whenever you subtract something over, flip the sign.
Yeah, you're right, to some extent. Okay. Normally, we would multiply through and get rid of the fraction. Yeah. Okay, but the problem is, when you're working with inequalities, if we have x is greater than 2, what happens to an inequality when you multiply by a negative number? It splits the sign and it becomes less than. Okay, our problem is, if I multiply by y minus 1, do you know whether this represents a positive number or a negative number? Y minus 1, how do you know?
If you set it equal to 0, it's 1.
That's not solving it. Y could represent any number. Y is a variable. We have no idea what y represents.
So we're going to have to solve it both.
So you cannot get rid of the fraction.
So you just can't do it.
No, you don't write can't do it. You must. That's a 1. I'm giving you steps. You have to get it so it's either greater than 0 or less than 0. You cannot get rid of the fraction. So, okay, this isn't that hard. I want to get it greater than 0. So we would subtract 2, yeah. Okay, so I have 3y, y minus 1 over y minus 1. Now we'd have minus 1 is greater than 0.
What?
I just subtracted 2 over. That's it. I moved the 2 over. But how am I going to solve this? I need to know where it's greater than 0. What does it mean to be greater than 0? What kind of, somebody said it. It means to be positive. So I need to find out what makes this thing come out to be positive. And what method do we know that lets one figure out where positives and negatives occur? Starts with a T. Testing points. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. But before you can do that, you have to have it all in one fraction. So you have to make the common denominator and then test points. You have to make the common denominator and then you'll have to test points. It's not that hard. I can't get people to remember this for love nor money. Y'all want to multiply through, cancel those fractions. We've drilled that into you, and now I'm telling you can't.
Show the fractions.
Okay, so recognizing that that's currently 1 over 1. If I have to make a common denominator, what is the common denominator? Yeah, it's y minus 1. So this part's not changing, the left side, but now this has to become, doesn't have to become, because to make the common denominator, I have to multiply it top and bottom by y minus 1. Okay, and then, yes, what little tiny algebra thing is waiting here to get you? That negative must distribute. That's, change it to a plus. That's negative 1, or negative y, positive 1. That has to distribute. Now, add them together. What do you have? You got 2y, so 3y minus y, 2y plus 1, over y minus 1, greater than 0. Now, test points. So, okay, so you have to figure out what makes the top equal 0, what makes the bottom equal 0. is 1, okay? That one equals 0, 2y plus 1 equals 0 at a negative half, yes. I know, but folks, you got to realize I have people in here who have not done this before.
We've done this before. I'm hungry. I don't think I'm hungry.
All right? So, I'm split at where each one equals 0. Where does this equal 0? Where does this equal 0? Okay, now, this is the testing points thing again. What number you want to test?
-10.
0.
Well, we can do -10 first.
You only have to test one. Do you know it's going to alternate? Is it going to go plus, minus, plus, minus?
Yeah.
Yes, as long as there's no powers, no exponents, it's going to alternate.
Let's do 0 then.
So if it's going to alternate, do 0. 0 would fall in the middle.
In the middle.
And so 0 in the top would be 0 plus 1 is positive. 0 minus 1 is negative. So that makes a negative, which means the edges are positive. Okay, now, how do you know which ones you want for answers?
You want to be greater than 0. So you want the positive.
You got to look at the sign. Greater than 0 means positive. So we want these guys out here and these guys down below. How are you going to know about, oh, well actually we're going to write this in interval notation. So do I want brackets or parentheses?
Negative, parentheses, negative infinity.
Okay, since this one has no equal sign, they've all got to be parentheses. If it did have an equal sign,
We'd have brackets.
except the one from the bottom, you can never divide by 0. Anything from the bottom will always be a parenthesis. So the 1 would have to be a parenthesis because you can't divide by 0. But since that we have no equal sign, they're both parentheses in this case. So we'll go negative infinity to negative 1/2 unioned with 1 to infinity.
That's our answer.
It's, yeah. You want to write it with inequalities? Could there be something to that old adage, math builds?
It just destroys you more. Better just pile it on.
Okay, this is as far as complicated algebra, this is the easiest problems you got. But I cannot get people to remember this come test time. On inequalities, you must make the common denominator. Why aren't they? There's no equal sign on it.
Are we done?
We're going to have to be done, so that means you're not learning the last part.
Cool, come here, see?
The part where it says handout,
Handout.
there's not a handout there.
It's still recording.
Oh, thank you.